Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Build Your Copywriting Business podcast. Hey there, Kate.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Okay, guys. This is a topic that is one of those like, do I really want to listen to this? But you do. You do. If you're thinking, well, I don't know, money is fun to talk about, but taxes aren't necessarily fun to talk about.
But it's fun when they saves you money.
Yes.
This is going to save you money.
The key. In this episode, we're going to talk about ways to save on your taxes. Now, don't get us wrong. We are all for paying our taxes. Like, let's support education and all of that kind of thing. But there's no need to pay more than we should.
It's true.
And there are some perfectly legal deductions that you might not even be aware of that could save you money.
And some perfectly illegal ones. We're not going to cover those, though.
Kate!
I feel like we should caveat
this episode.
This is where we caveat that we are not tax professionals, and you should talk to your tax professional or an expert on anything you have questions of. But these are good conversation starters and places to dig into further and things you might not have realized that were possible for your taxes. So
yes, great caveat. Second caveat number 2, these are for the United States. However, with not knowing a thing about how taxes work in really any other country, let's be honest, not really completely understanding how taxes work here.
I was saying in any other, we have 50 states. That's all. Yeah,
too much. If you are from another country, worth listening in, just in case there's something that is useful to you as well.
Again, conversation starters with your tax professional, or to be like, ooh, I wonder if Australia has the same deduction. Great.
Yeah. We don't know.
Look at it. Yeah, we don't.
But there are people who do, and that's the important thing. Okay, let's dig in.
Yes.
First general topic, home office deductions. If you are a freelancer and you primarily work from home, there is a very good chance that you can claim a portion of your home if it is used primarily for work as your home office.
Which is very exciting because a few years ago, this deduction, you'll again look into all of this because things change year over year and whatnot. But a few years ago, they eliminated the ability to do a home office deduction for people that are full-time that work from home. So for example, if you're not a freelancer, but you're working remote for a company, I believe, several years ago now that they got rid of that one, but it still stands for you if you are doing freelance work or for any amount of freelance work. So say you're working part-time for an employer and you're doing part-time work for your freelance business, all that time spent on your freelance business still counts. So definitely look into that.
Yes. And actually, caveat number 3, I'm going to insert a caveat. Look at me, caveating all over the place. The
we don't want to get sued.
I know, we really don't. Don't sue us. Is that all of the information that we're giving you now is current as of when we recorded this episode, which is November 14th, 2024. You are listening to this far into the future. I hope things are going well in the future. Yeah,
I do too.
I mean, in general, but I hope things are going well in the future. Okay, so back to the home office deduction. Now, calculating it is actually relatively easy. You figure out the square footage of the space that you use as your home office, and its main purpose is your home office. So if you're like, well, I work at my kitchen table, can't I call my kitchen my home office? You can. If you have a regular office, perhaps talk to your tax professional. If you have a corner of a room that is only ever used for your office, that could be the case. So it is percentage-wise, it's the square footage of your home office compared to the square footage of your house. And then that's how you figure out the deduction.
Yeah, and I still use TurboTax to this day. I should probably hire a tax professional, but software like TurboTax does it for you. It calculates that percentage and really does a really good job. We probably should look into getting sponsored by TurboTax. They're great. I love them. This is not paid to say that, but they really do a good job of walking you step by step through everything and explaining everything and why things are and what to do, because there are a couple of methods for calculating it. One, like Nikki just said, and then there's another one where you can factor in things like the amount of electrical and utility usage for that small percentage of your house. And it just can get as complicated or as simple as you want. So again, talk to your tax professional and they might have guidance, or, if you're using software, it'll probably give you the easiest option.
Walk you through it. But yeah, if you are working from home and you're working from a dedicated space, make sure you're able to take
Claim
that
that.
deduction.
Yeah.
Claim it. Okay, so within your office space, wherever you are working, you can deduct, and again, the caveat, this is for freelance copywriters, you can deduct office supplies, most office supplies and office expenses, all kinds of stuff. In fact, we'll go through a list. But if it's something that you use only for your business and or to grow your business, it is, or to make your business function, it is something that you likely can deduct.
So I think one of the first that comes to my mind for me is Zoom. If you use Zoom, if you paid Zoom subscription and you use that for your client meetings, that's a deduction. Same thing with anything like a Dropbox or a Google Drive. If you're using that for your cloud storage solution for all of your files and client work, that's another good one.
Dubsado, if you use Dubsado to send out your invoices, manage that kind of thing. I would think also if you use a project management software and you pay for it, something like Asana or Monday. We use Asana at our company. We love it. But then also too, software that extends to your portfolio site. If you are paying, and you're paying, $15 or $20 a month to host it somewhere, that can be deducted as well. It is a cost of doing business, and as such, you can deduct. And of course, if you're thinking, well, like I have to go through and find the receipts for the $15 a month that I pay to host once you start actually adding all of this stuff up, it can start to become substantial. So if you're listening, you're like, all these are little things. All together, they can become nice big deductions. Hey there, it's Nikki. I wanted to take a very quick minute to make sure that you knew about our free on-demand copywriting training. Now, whether you are brand new to copywriting or you've been doing it for a while, but you just can't seem to hit those income goals, this training is for you. You are going to learn the 3 secrets to landing freelance copywriting work without relying on frustrating job bidding sites like Upwork or Fiverr, or without cold calling strangers. And if you've watched any of the student success stories on this channel, and if you haven't yet, check them out. This is the exact same training that they all started with. And I mean students like Kate K, who is making 6 figures, working part-time, and retired her husband to help her build her business. Students like Stuart, who replaced his full-time salary, which was a good one, with his freelance income and then some. Stacy, who hit 6 figures in her first 6 months as a freelance copywriter, and Ashley, who landed the in-house copywriting job of her dreams. They all started with this free training, and you can start with this free training too. So sign up right now at freecopywritingtraining.com.
Yeah, and if you haven't been diligent, which I've been known to do, I think one of the easiest things, you probably get emails from that provider month over month, or if you're paying it for a yearly, you can go onto your profile. Like I know Dropbox has that, where you can look at where your recurring payment costs and what the cost is, or look at your credit card statements. Hopefully you've separated everything into your business bank account for all business expenses. Again, if you haven't, you might have to do a little more sifting, but it should all be there, and you can grab screen grabs, download those PDFs of your bank statements, all of that sort of thing, to make sure you just have that paper trail.
Yeah, that's smart. And once we go through the list, we can talk about how historically you and I have each pulled this together and how all of that goes.
Any big ticket items, there was one year I bought a chair for my office, specifically for my office, and that piece of furniture, because it stays there, it's in my office, it's for my office. You can use that as a deduction. If you buy a new computer that you're using just, again, exclusively for business. And then where it gets a little, again, worth doing the math, if you're using Wi-Fi or your cell phone bill to conduct business, like client calls, obviously you're using the internet. I assume we all are at some point or another for client work.
Yes.
So you can do a percentage of your bills. Again, as with everything, talk to your accountant if you're unsure about the best way to kind of calculate that. But again, if you're using software, you can also kind of look through that and have that guide you.
Yeah, and the stuff adds up.
Another big one, again, we've talked about this, and we'll link to an episode about building in your own benefits package, but one of the big tax benefits as a freelancer is contributing to your retirement. And as a sole proprietor / freelancer / sole LLC owner, you can do this for all of these and have a self 401k. It operates just like a 401k, only you're the employer and you're the employee, and you get benefits on both sides for your reducing your taxable income. So if you've had a great year freelancing, end of year was the time to contribute as an employee, but as an employer, you still have time. So if you want to get with your bank person, get with your accountant, see if this is doable before tax season, you've got a couple of months, definitely worth looking into. And if, you're like, oh, this is too much, I can barely get through my taxes as is, now is a good time to put some time on your calendar to explore the option of opening up your self 401k account and getting that going, because the biggest hurdle really is just setting it up in the first place. And it can feel daunting. And I promise you it's not. So get time on your calendar to get that set up so that next year you can benefit from all of the wonderful reduction in taxes that this brings.
Yes.
It's like paying yourself now and paying yourself later. It's very exciting.
That's good. Good selling. Good selling. I'm in. Another cost is to consider is if you are running advertising for yourself in any way, shape, or form, and this may not apply, but if you are, say, running meta ads, if you're doing meta ads to maybe a small product, or maybe you're running webinars for yourself, or you're just sending people to your website, you can deduct the cost of advertising. Same thing if you, say, ran an ad in an industry newsletter or something like that. If you are doing advertising for your business, not on behalf of a client, but for your own business, you can deduct those advertising costs.
And another kind of category that, especially CCA students, if you've picked up any books from the book recommendations that we've listed off in months past or whatnot, any books that you purchase specifically with the goal of growing your business, professional development, all of that sort of thing, you can include these in your deductions.
Exactly. The key to professional development is it has to be something, again, as of when we're recording this, it has to be something that you use to learn and further yourself in your current career. So if you have not yet started copywriting and you're considering joining the CCA and you're wondering, can I deduct this? As of this moment, you can't. However, CCA students, if you join us for CCA Plus, for example, that is very likely deductible because it is professional advancement within your copywriting career. So CCA Plus students, you should be able to write that off. Talk to your accountant, but you should be able to write that off. And then on top of that, if you have any professional subscriptions, things like a subscription to Ad Age or Writer's Digest or Entrepreneur Magazine or something like that, something that again is used to increase your knowledge and your skills as a copywriter, you should be able to write those off as well.
One of my favorite ones is the very meta deducting your tax preparation services. So you can get a deduction on your taxes from your tax preparation, from that cost. So if you hire someone, or again, TurboTax, the software, every year I get to deduct the cost of the prior year's TurboTax. So look into that, of whatever you're using for those kind of services. And if you've hired someone to help you, if you've decided to go to the route of becoming an LLC, again, not necessary for most copywriters, but if you've sought out those kind of more legal services for your business structure and how best to operate, that's also something that's likely deductible.
Boom. And then also too, there are still business travel deductions that you can look into. First, yes, if you use your car to get to client meetings, that kind of thing, I feel like this is really dating myself. I feel like this does not happen nearly as often, but I used to keep like a little notepad in my car and I would write down the starting mileage and write down the ending mileage. And so I feel like because we don't have to go as often to meet our clients in person, you may never meet your clients in person. This might not be quite as applicable, but say, for example, you did have to go meet a client in person, or you took an Uber, you write off the cost of the Uber, all that kind of thing. But also too, if you are traveling for business purposes, if you are going to an event for the purpose of promoting your business, if you're going to an online marketers association meeting, you should be able to write off the travel expenses for attending that meeting as a part of doing business.
And maybe even the cost of the event. If there was like $50 to attend the event, that's likely, again, professional development. It's for your career, point. It's for your business.
Great point.
So many deductions.
And really, this is just kind of the most obvious ones. There are some that always kind of make me sad that you can't write off. Like if you have to be online and if you're put yourself on social media and all that kind of stuff, you can't write off your outfits. You can't write off makeup. You can't write off it still makes me sad. If I have to do a photo shoot for my business, why can't I write off that? Nope, that doesn't happen. But at the same time too, your tax professional might have additional ideas, or there might be new deductions that we're not even aware of, but your tax professional is.
Mm-hmm. Is healthcare deductible?
Right? Yes, yeah, great point. Yes, thank
one,
you.
Right?
Healthcare is deductible.
I just realized that. I was like, this is a huge one.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. If you are paying your own, if you're paying your own healthcare and you are likely as a freelancer, then it is deductible. Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. Or not likely. You might have a spouse that you have healthcare through, but if you're paying it yourself as a freelancer, then it is deductible indeed. And I will say that if you're listening to all of this and going, okay, well, that sounds great, but the actual time to pull all this stuff together, I'm not going to beat around the bush here. Probably my least favorite day of the year was the day that I would pull together all of my receipts, all of this stuff, pull together all of my finance, all the invoices that were paid, all of that kind of stuff, my business accounts, all of that stuff. Least favorite day of the year. However, you can schedule it in and you can get it done. I would schedule it for a Saturday. I can do that. I live alone.
A couple of Saturdays is what I do.
Maybe a couple of Saturdays. I guess you're right. I guess I would do it usually over like Saturday, Sunday,
unless
whatever.
You really want to plow through in a day, which, you can.
You can. It's possible. Yeah. But I would block it out in advance and I would know that I'm going to do it on this day. And then I would have a nice bottle of wine for the end of it, let myself order in some takeout when I'm done, and celebrate being done. But it's one of those, like, is it going to be pleasant? I'm sure for some people it would be. I am not the kind of person to find pulling all that stuff together and writing it down and organizing it, all that kind of stuff. I do not find that pleasant. Caitlin, our operations manager, might find that kind of thing pleasant. I could see that. She loves order, taking chaos and turning it into order, which is good because I am chaos and then she turns me into order. I don't love it, but what I would do is I would just put it on my schedule and just know that that's what I was going to. And I learned that because many years before, I would just keep pushing it off. And then all of a sudden I would come up to the date where my accountant's like, you have to turn it in if you want me to pay your taxes. And then I would have to stay up late into the night. And that was misery that I didn't need. So that's how I used to approach it.
Yeah, very similar. And this is coming out in February. And right now, I would recommend block off the next available time that you can find on your calendar. So hopefully sometime in February, if you need a second day to kind of double check, tie it all up, it's much more pleasant starting in February, March than waiting till, oh my gosh, April just feels like a panic attack waiting to happen.
Yes. Yeah. And then to your earlier point, Kate, I was just going to say that as you're going through it, think of ways that you can make it easier on yourself next year. I think the like you said, having a sub inbox in my inbox where whenever I got a receipt for anything, it would just go in there. Receipt for anything, go in there. And so at the end of the year, I could just open that up, print everything out, and then organize it. It makes it that much easier.
And if you're like me, who starts every year off very organized and slowly throughout the years, just like, it's fine. It doesn't actually matter. How is it July? I just was January. I just did taxes. And taxes start to kind of drift from your brain a little bit. Pulling up things like, if you use Amazon for business purchases, going through there and be like, okay, are any of these purchases, were they for my business? Pulling up your credit card statement. I like Nikki, I have a folder in my subfolder in my inbox full of all receipts. So anything I've ever ordered, it goes in there. Okay. So combing through that, did I miss anything that was, business and personal? Did that get mixed up for any reason? So think of places that would make it easier to just all at once have a high level look at all of your spending and then comb through it for anything that you did use for your business.
Exactly. I think probably the first time you do this, it's the least enjoyable. But then you find ways to make it easier as you go so that eventually it's not, I've just spent a whole weekend. It's, okay, this is the day. I'm going to get through this. It's going to take me a couple hours. I know what to do. And then when I'm done, I either log on to TurboTax or whatever you do, or I send it off to your accountant and then you're good to go.
Yeah. And to Nikki's point, have what you're going to do to celebrate the accomplishment.
Yes.
Because this is one that you need. You need to have something in mind for how you're going to reward yourself at the end, whether it's a bottle of wine, booking a massage, going for a walk, whatever you're thinking, chocolate, something. You need something to get through taxes.
Yeah. Pulling your taxes together is no fun. But what is fun is discovering
saving all the moolah.
Exactly. Discovering just how much you're going to save when you put all of these deductions together. So we hope it's a lot. If it is a lot, let us know. Reach out. Let us know. We hope it's a massive amount of money that you end up saving. And so with that, we will catch you guys in the next episode. Bye, everybody. Like what you heard? Hit subscribe so you never miss a video. And if you're ready to take the first step toward becoming a copywriter yourself, sign up for a free video training right here.